Hey, do you want to find kick-ass guests for your show? It doesn't matter if you're hosting a podcast or a talk show on radio. I'm going to show you today exactly how to go out and source the absolute creme de la creme of guests. Amazing people who you can interview, and also find people who are really tailored to your audience. Sound good? Let's dive in and let's get started. All right, so I'm going to break this down into 3 really simple steps. Step 1 is actually let's figure out our content strategy. Step 2 is how do we actually go and find guests who are relevant for what we want to talk about. And then step 3 is what to do once the interview's been recorded, how to maximize your guest opportunities to make sure that your guests are becoming advocates for your radio show, your podcast. They're actually telling their fans, their followers about their interview. So firstly, content strategy. This is so important. And a lot of people forget that if you can be strategic about things, number 1, it makes your life a lot easier, all right? Number 2, it's gonna give your audience what they really want. And number 3, also, it will allow you to be really focused on actually finding the right guests. So here's what I mean. Today, I'm gonna give you an example. Let's say I have a podcast and I'm creating a series specifically on marketing, okay? And marketing for businesses, for website, online business owners, e-commerce stores, software as a service type businesses, that kind of thing. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to sit down and I'm going to plan my episodes. So for example, I might have a strategy that looks something like this. Episode number 1 could be content marketing wizardry. Episode number 2, social media tactics. Then we might go on to episode number 3, how to write great copy. Then 4 could be email marketing secrets, 5 PR strategy, 6 ninja SEO, 7 video marketing hacks, and then to finish the series off, we might have like a summary episode. Here are the best bits. Here's what we learned through this series. So right there, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, we have a series of podcast episodes which tell a story. Each episode has a content or a topic strategy around a specific topic, but they all link together. So we're not just going off on tangents like, I don't know, talking about marketing in one episode and then like Bitcoin mining in episode number 2, and then talking about like how to mow the lawn and I don't know, whatever it might be for episode 3, something completely random. I don't know, wine tasting. We've got a succinct pathway and we're going to lead our audience down that pathway as part of our podcast. So this is really basic stuff, and we can talk about podcast planning and how to write a structure for a podcast in another day. But really what I wanted to do is talk about how this links to your guest strategy, because we have 7 different topics here which we want to find experts on, which makes our lives a lot easier. So for example, today's episode I'm going to be using how to write great copy, as an example. Copywriting, something that, not everyone knows a lot about. It's one of these skills that's really, really powerful as a business owner. But if you're not an expert in it yourself and you don't want to sit and talk about how to write great copy for 20 or 30 minutes, the best way of delivering that value to your audience is find someone who does. Find an expert who specializes in writing great copy, okay? So going back to my original point, the point of planning your episodes and the point of having a structure in place for your podcast is you're going to give your audience something that's really good. You're going to offer them something that they can easily follow, and each episode will complement each other to form that complete story. And also, you're relying on guests then to actually provide and deliver that content for your audience, which makes it very easy, again, to pitch to the guest, because you can go in and you can say, I want to find a guest about copywriting who's an expert on copywriting. Well, here are the topics I want to discuss about copywriting. So what I wanted to do now is dive in and show you how I'd approach this. This is step number 2, finding the right guests for your show. So we're going to use matchmaker.fm to do this. It's going to be super simple, super quick, and I'm going to show you how you can literally find guests in pretty much any topic really quickly, pitch them to make sure that they're understanding why you want to interview them. And then also finally I'm going to talk a bit about step number 3, which was actually what to do afterwards. Once you've recorded that interview, because we all know how to record interviews, you can use Zoom or one of those other tools to do it, that's easy enough. But then what to actually do once that's recorded and the episode's ready to go live, how do we get the guest to actually help us promote it? So let's dive in onto the computer and we'll find out how to find some darn good guests for our show. Okay, so as I mentioned, step number 2, we actually need to begin sourcing our guests. Now to do this, we are going to be using a platform called matchmaker.fm. Full disclosure, I'm the founder of this platform, all right? So, but it is a fantastic tool. We've just hit 16,000 members. So a huge resource for you to find podcast guests for your show at any level. So it doesn't matter if you want to find a Fortune 500 CEO or some kind of Greenpeace activist or a startup founder or an expert in marketing, which is like the example we're going to be using today. There is thousands and thousands and thousands of individuals with all sorts of areas of expertise and passions and stories to tell and fascinating things to talk about on Matchmaker. So if you haven't already done so, it's free to get started. Sign up for an account and let's dive right in. All right, so now I want to show you how you can filter down guests. Let's click on Find a Guest. You'll see a bunch of different options along here. First of all, I'm going to just say, okay, well, we're speaking to people who are in marketing. So I can just type in marketing. I might want to choose a location. For example, I might want to speak to marketing experts in the, United Kingdom, which is where I am. Which is great if you're going to be doing face-to-face interviews with people as well. You can even go right down to city. Oh, look, there I am at the top. So immediately we have a bunch of people who are all marketing experts who you might want to reach out to be on your show. If you click on someone's profile, obviously you'll get a bit of information about them. Friendly, confident delivery of information on social media and business. So if I'm looking for someone for my social media episode, this person, Pamela, might be great. But you can also search based on keywords, which is when it becomes really, really good if you want to be super specific or granular. So, for example, I'm looking for someone who has expertise in copywriting. Okay. Here we go. We've got some people who've turned up. I'm a copywriter in health and wellness space and a copywriting mentor. So Sarah sounds like she might be good. I've helped hundreds of people quit their 9-to-5 jobs and set out into the world of entrepreneurship with copywriting. So, I might send Sarah a message. Okay. So when I'm ready to actually reach out to someone, I wanted to talk a bit about how, you can actually pitch this person to be on your show, but actually tailor it to them rather than just sending a generic message. It's always good to personalize it. Okay, so I might say something along the lines of, "Hi Sarah, I'm currently going into pre-production for a new series of my podcast. Each episode will focus on a different speciality area of marketing. I thought your copywriting knowledge would lend itself well to my episode about copy, so we could discuss." Now here I've just pre-prepared sort of 3 kind of key subjects, if you like, that you might want to talk about in this episode. As I mentioned earlier, we're moving on to like SEO, we're talking about PR. Each episode we're going to have different talking points. So I think it's really great when you approach a guest if you can actually show them the sort of topics that you want to talk about. Because number one, it shows that you're actually serious about interviewing them, and obviously you can see their value and how much they can bring to the table. And also, it kind of gives them an idea of the sort of structure, so they can think about your questions a little bit in advance and think, yeah, I could talk about that. Or they might just turn around and say, oh, no, I don't really want to talk about these things. I don't know Sarah, just for the record, by the way. This is just a quick example. So if Sarah, if you're watching, hi, I'm sure you'd be great at talking about copywriting. So anyway, so I just said, I've prepared some questions here. I've just copied and pasted these. Why learning how to write good copy is so important to any marketer, your approach to write an effective pitch for a product, how to effectively kill objections using copy. So those are 3 sort of solid talking points that we could put into that episode all about copy. Okay, so let's say I want to go back to my guests, and find someone else. I might just type in SEO. Okay, for example, a wealth of people come up who have got SEO experts. If you hover over them, most of these people have got like the word SEO in their actual tagline. So these are all people who are going to be super specific, experts with SEO experience. So here we go, Catherine, a veteran SEO strategist and coach who loves helping in-house marketers improve their organic traffic. Immediately I've got no doubt that Catherine would be great to have a chat to about search and engine optimization for my marketing podcast. So there we go. It's really, really straightforward to find people, in really specific areas. Now, it doesn't have to be limited to marketing. Let's say you might want to find out yoga, something, a health and well-being podcast. Again, you type in yoga, you get dozens or sometimes even hundreds of people who have got expertise in yoga, all right? This is the power of Matchmaker. So if you're not signed up, go to matchmaker.fm and create an account. Next up, I want to show you how you can then, once you've recorded your interview, turn it into kind of a publicity machine and encourage your guests to actually send stuff out to their audience as well. Okay, so we're now assuming your interview has been recorded with the guest and wanted to talk about how we manage the process of leveraging the guest to actually promote the episode on their social media as well as promoting it on our own. It's a mutually beneficial thing. That's one of the main benefits of getting guests on your show. So as you can see in front of me here, I've got a Google Doc. This is just almost like a template for the emails that we might send out. So it might say, "Hi Bob, thanks for appearing on the Match podcast. Your episode will be live on, say, 20th of January 2021 at 5 p.m. GMT. You can find it here, and we'll normally put a link to the podcast episode or the YouTube video. And obviously, we normally send them links to Spotify and Apple Podcasts. You need to give them as much information as possible to make it as easy as possible for that person to then distribute it to their network. That's the main thing here. I've also attached some social assets, so please feel free to use them on your social media and drip them out through the week if possible. Again, we always ask guests to actually do this. It's a fantastic way of promoting our podcasts. We do this with every single podcast that we have, not just the matched one that I'm using in this example. And you should totally be doing it too. Systemize this as much as possible. Have a follow-up process in place. I'd maybe send them an email a week before this one, and say, just to let you know, your episode's going live in a week, because sometimes you might have recorded it a couple of months back and they might have totally forgotten about you. So it's always good just to manage your expectations, saying, it's going live in a week. And I'll be following up with an email 24 hours before the episode goes live with more information and some links to the episode and the assets that you can use on your social media. Again, it's just about taking them down that process and managing expectations in terms of both your guests and also so that they're aware of what your promotional strategy is going to be as well. As I mentioned, we say we've also attached some social assets. Please can you push them on your social media? So it's normally this kind of stuff. If I head on to our Matchmaker Instagram account, you can see we've got various quotes. We've got these kind of short videos that will easily be translatable to that other person's profile. We always ask people to try and promote it as much as they can. Again, if you do this work for them, it's going to save you a lot of time. It's certainly saving them a lot of time if you can kind of just give them a media pack for their episode. You can even go as far as writing the posts for them, like the actual copy for the social media post. Just again, it's going to be a big time saver for the guest, and you're increasing your chances of them actually pushing it out to their network because they're not having to spend loads of time doing it. Again, little things, please tag our social media accounts. And obviously you can give them your website, etc. Always remember to thank the guest for the time as well. Very, very important. Ultimately, they've given up their time to sort of help you and give their value to your audience. So you need to make sure you're always being polite. That's just a very basic template email that you can follow. You can customize it. You could probably make it a lot more interesting and exciting than that. But that's just something I've kind of quickly thrown together. So just to finish off, again, this is the sort of stuff you want to be creating. You want to be introducing your guests to the idea that they can promote your podcast on their channels. Mandy, and we spoke to a few weeks ago, she's very kindly sort of retweeted us and she's put out a couple of messages about the fact that she was on our podcast. So that is it. Thanks very much for watching this video. If you have any comments or questions, please don't hesitate to put them in the field below, and I'll answer as many as I can. If I don't answer them in the comments, sometimes I answer them in video. So hopefully that's given you a great insight into how to source perfect guests and to really tell amazing stories using podcasting. Lots more videos like this coming out on my channel. Remember to give me a thumbs up if you've enjoyed this, and also hit that subscribe button for more content like this, and I'll speak to you soon. Take it easy. Bye for now. Hey, before you go anywhere, I have a quick question for you. Do you have a podcast? And if you do you want to book more interesting, high-profile guests on your show? Well, if you answered yes to either of these questions, I'd love to invite you to come and join our community over at matchmaker.fm. Matchmaker is a service that connects awesome podcasts just like yours with incredible and high-profile guests that make for really interesting conversations. It's really straightforward to get started and completely free to sign up. Just connect using your LinkedIn, Facebook or Google account, and then you can begin connecting with guests based on their area of expertise, location, and much more. If you haven't checked it out already, go to matchmaker.fm, get started. It's just like Tinder, but for podcasters.